Hello everyone, and welcome to week 6 of the online course development program. For those of you who came to the in-class session, I was talking about sending these out on Fridays, but I actually changed my mind, and I think it'd be good if we start fresh on Monday, so we'll do a recap of our Friday class, but again, let's get us started off fresh on the Monday for the week to come. So last week we were finishing up the laying out of our course units, and this week we're starting writing of our course modules. So here we are in our shared shell. So as usual, you've got some work to do in your workbook. It also talks about writing for the web, and I would really recommend that you take a look at this link. So here we have some different tips on how to write for the web, and basically what it boils down to is being concise and being relatively brief. So I'm going to let you read that one, but I do think it's a really good one. And in our tips and tricks this week, we have different ways of presenting your readings to your students within Blackboard. So just some different practical ideas that you can use to get your students to do the readings inside of your online shell. Once again, we have group sessions every week now until the end of November. So the next one coming up is on Friday from 9:30 to 11:30 in K203. And we're looking at overview of Blackboard features for online teachers. And this is going to be run by Alyssa Bigelow and Gordon Ma. Gordon is our Blackboard help desk support person, and Alyssa is our instructional design technologist. I'm sure that you've all met them. But she's going to be doing a bit of a roadmap of what she can offer, gathering the needs, and reviewing some of the technology that's available to you here at Georgian. The other piece I want to leave you with today is when we were working with Greg in our group session, I realized that not everyone had YouTube accounts. And I do suggest that you get a YouTube account for your online course development program. If you decide not to use it in the future, that's okay. But anytime you're creating videos or you're collecting videos, just the way Blackboard works, it is nice to have that YouTube account. And also, as I showed you a few weeks ago, there is that closed captioning that's already built in to YouTube that's really not as robust in some other systems. So I do recommend that. And here on our Center for Teaching and Learning website, under Classroom Technologies, there is a full YouTube in the classroom area, and it gets you started how to sign up for a YouTube account. If you already have a Gmail or a Google account, the information's there. Uploading videos, and probably the most important is embedding YouTube videos back into your Blackboard shell. And there's a very easy to follow tip sheet because it's a little bit tricky, but once you get through it a few times, you'll find it pretty easy. I'm also going to attach to this a link to a video that Mark Dorsey has made on explaining this tip sheet. So there'll be a link to this as well as that video. But I do think it's important to take a look at that and to set up your YouTube account just for this process. If you have a reason you don't want to, we can set up sort of a generic one, but then you do lose some of the being able to view the analytics, so to see how many people have viewed it. Yes, I can see who's viewed the video, how many times they've watched it, and then also how long they've watched it for, if they've watched the full 13 minutes or 10 minutes, or they've only watched the first 2 minutes. Those are all things you don't have if you don't have a YouTube account. So that's a recommendation from me today. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do a quick review of what we looked at together in class. If you don't feel you need that, you can end right now. But if you'd like to have a quick review, or if you weren't able to join us in our in-class, that's where we're going to do next. So the first thing we did was, of course, just some basic introductions, and I asked you, what are you excited about in this process? What is something that is making you excited to be doing this over the next fall semester? So this is a Wordle. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with them. It's an online tool to make word clouds. And basically you just input text, and the more often a piece of text is there, the bigger it will be. So more of you were excited about technology than you were about simulations. Look at this. You're excited about trying new technology, new tools. For quite a few of you, you're excited that the fact that your course is blended. Not all of your courses are blended, but for some of you they are. Some of you feel it's going to help your program. Get in some new subject matter, and developing a bit of community. And quite a few mentioned that moving away from lecture, this is sort of forcing you to move away from lecture, so it's a little bit bigger than some of the other ones. So then of course the next question is, well, what are you apprehensive or what are you nervous about? And technology, the one that we were excited about, we're also nervous about. The reaction of our students, if our students will be successful, the volume of work, and that could be the marking, and that could be the development of it. If there's no textbook involved in your course, how does that work? the deadlines of this actual program. Using some of these new tools is making us a little bit nervous and feeling overwhelmed. So I look at this and say, okay, well, where can I help? And that's where, when you're looking at these new tools and these technologies, please do not feel that you're on your own. We do have a team of people here to help you. So at any point you need help, please reach out to us, and don't get yourself frustrated trying to do something when maybe we have an idea or a solution or someone else has faced this in the past. So then we looked at, okay, well, where are we in this process? So right about now, we're just starting to put things into our Blackboard shell. I moved the arrow over a little bit. When in class it was over here, but we're getting to the point where we should be putting things into our Blackboard shell. I talked a little bit about the fact that you can have a 2-week review, and one of the Ontario Learn coordinators will go into your dev shell and do a review solely based on the checklist, just for feedback. And we usually do that just before reading week. Reading week, I leave you alone. We don't have any group sessions. That's time for you to do your marking and time for you to work on this individually. Then we get into creating some videos, getting those test banks and pools created. We do get to the point, I know it seems far away, but usually end November, beginning December, where most of your materials are there. You do your own quality assurance, and then I or Mark Dorsey do your final QA, and then you review the comments, and then it's a bit of back and forth on how to proceed with the course. So we also reviewed, I'm just going to put all these up. We also reviewed the difference between in-class, face-to-face teaching, and online. So I'm just going to read these off, but in class you can use improvisation. It's based on sensory. You can do adaptation. It's based really on seeing, listening, and reacting. You can use repetition and emphasis, and rephrasing. So you can look out into your classroom and see very quickly, are people getting this? What type of body language are my students showing me? Are they confused? Are they bored? Are they frustrated? And you can adapt, and then you can do things like repetition and emphasis for them to help them understand. And it is based on seeing, listening, and reacting. So the students that we have that maybe are weaker in reading and writing, you might not even really know that until some assignments start coming back in. Because in class, basically they are watching, they're listening, and they're speaking. But when we look at online teaching, it is asynchronous in nature, so we are not together at the same time. You can have synchronous activities, but the bulk of it is over a week or over a module. It is pre-designed. We do ask that all 14 weeks are laid out. You can have them that the students can't see them until that week comes up, so you can be doing some rejigging, but it is pretty much designed. It is technology mediated, so if you're having a hard time with Blackboard, or your students are having a hard time with Blackboard, this is where you can run into problems. It's not spontaneous. It's very hard to just sort of stop an online course on the dime and throw in some new activities. And it is based mostly on writing and reading. So those students that are struggling may have a challenge with online learning if they're struggling with writing and reading, because that's predominantly the mode. Now you can add videos, you can have that you create videos, that you find other videos, you have simulations, all these things, but predominantly it's based on writing and reading. So then we spend some time on the shift from a learning-centered environment, and I'm not going to go through all this, but I will attach some documents to this email that goes into this a bit more. But we looked at the function of content, the role of the teacher, the responsibility for learning, and the process and purpose of evaluation. And why does this matter for online learning? This can also apply to your in-class, blended, or online, but when it's solely online, it's very difficult, for example, for the role of the teacher to be instruction. So that sage on the stage lecturing to their students. It's very difficult to recreate that. You can have a very dynamic lecturer, someone who students will listen to for a long period of time. And if we record that and put 3 hours of that into the course, we know that the students will, one, either not watch it, or two, will not retain much of it, just the way attention span and engagement works. So again, I'm going to attach some documents to the email for your review, and if you missed this in the in-class, we can also sit down one-on-one and talk about it. So then we had Greg come in, and Greg talked about active learning, and basically it's just looking at the difference between passive, of sitting and watching, to active, so that they're doing something. So he wanted to show us some different tools you could use. So Coggo is the first one, and that is a mind mapping tool. The next one was using of Google Docs and having students collaborate in an online environment. The next one was YouTube capture, either yourself or your students creating quick videos and being able to very easily upload those to YouTube. And the last one was after photo, and that was a way of captioning photographs, and then again having the students do that or having you do that. Now Greg's going to be sending out an email this week, probably tomorrow, with 4 of these tools and giving you some tasks to do. It's completely optional, but some tasks to do with these 4 things to get you trying them out. So you can watch for that email from Greg. Okay, so that's what I have for this week. So Friday I will not be there, but I will send treats ahead with Alyssa. And again, that's looking at Blackboard. I really do recommend it, no matter what level of Blackboard you're at, or whether you are a novice or you're an expert. Alyssa and Gordon are going to look at it specifically from online or blended point of view. So there's going to be some tips and tricks there. I think that might be very helpful for everyone, no matter what your level is. Again, any questions or concerns that come up during the week, please let myself or Mark Dorsey know. And once again, thank you very much.